Vegetables do not always serve all humans well. And the way I've tried to frame this is, look, if you're thriving, more power to you. Eat a salad, eat some kale, eat some broccoli. But I think that there's a lot of people out there who have some sort of autoimmune issue, some sort of gut issue, or you have some skin issue, psoriasis, eczema, or you have a little bit of a mood issue or a sleep issue or insomnia. They have something going on and they don't find answers.
Well, if you're eating vegetables and you're thriving, then it's all good. But if you feel bad in the slightest, if you have a headache, if you have trouble sleeping, if your hand hurts a little bit, if you hit your toes on the bed, it was probably the fault of vegetables.
But very few physicians are going to say to a patient, the spinach you're eating might be causing your problem. Spinach is a good example though, because if you look at spinach, it's super high in a compound called oxalates, which we know accumulate in the human body. These compounds are the main component of the most common type of kidney stone for humans, calcium oxalate kidney stones. They accumulate in the joints. They accumulate in our thyroids. They accumulate in breast tissue. There's clear case studies of them causing kidney failure when people do like smoothie cleanses and they absorb lots of these oxalates.
I have a friend who has kidney stones recently. Sounds like you're describing her diet. It's a traditionally healthy diet.
Right.
No. If you look at the evidence-based pyramid, case studies lie at the bottom. And there's a reason for that. There are so many confounders that we cannot account for during case studies. If you want to assess that smoking causes lung cancer and you go to a house of a smoker, you will find some ashtrays there. But no one in the right mind would think that an ashtray causes lung cancer. It just happens to be at the house of a smoker. That is a confounder. Something that we cannot assess while looking at case studies. So why not look at meta-analysis and systematic reviews to see what can increase your risk of getting kidney stones? For example, let's look at the following systematic review and meta-analysis, in which they included over 55 relevant articles, with over 1.3 million of participants, and a little over 21,000 cases, meaning kidney stones happened. And I want to focus on the diet part because that was the focus on Paul Saladino's claims. There is a clear pattern to be seen across all meta-analyses that we're going to dive deep in today. That is animal proteins. Increased consumption of total meat and animal protein conferred a significant risk of kidney stones. I wanted to look at this systematic review and meta-analysis first because we have a forest plot. A forest plot is something that some of you might remember during that debate of James Wilkes and Chris Kresser.
Do you know how do you read a forest plot? Yes or no?
I don't.
You can clearly see that fruits, vegetables and fibers are associated with a decreased risk of developing kidney stones, while meat and spinach is associated with an increased risk. We will look at the spinach part just in a second. The results of the last systematic review that we just had a look at are replicated in the following prospective study. They observed over 51,000 participants. High intakes of fresh fruits, fibers from whole grains and cereals, and magnesium were also associated with a lower risk of kidney stones. In conclusion, vegetarians have a lower risk of developing kidney stones compared with those who eat a high meat diet. Something Paul Saladino is advocating for. And yes, the pronunciation of Saladino was intentional. Now, what about oxalates found in plants? This is quite a valid concern, but there's a big caveat to this argument. We have compelling evidence that the oxalates intake is associated with a higher risk in plants if calcium intake is low, as the following results of the studies indicate. The risk was higher in men with lower dietary calcium intake. And all these findings are in line with that Dr. Goldfarb is saying. And you might be thinking, who is Dr. Goldfarb? Good question, and I will let Gil Carvalho from Nutrition Made Simple answer this question. By the way, make sure to follow his channel because it's highly educational, and please also watch the interview with
Dr. David Goldfarb, physician, double board certified nephrologist and internal medicine specialist. Dr. Goldfarb received his medical degree from Yale and completed his residency and fellowship at NYU, New York University. He's the chief of nephrology and the director of the Kidney Stone Prevention Program at NYU. He's also professor of medicine and physiology at NYU School of Medicine, where he teaches kidney physiology to medical students. Dr. Goldfarb also oversees a team researching kidney stones, chronic kidney disease, and oxalate-related pathologies. He has authored over 200 peer-reviewed scientific articles on these topics and is supervising a number of ongoing clinical trials. He's a scientific advisor to the National Kidney Foundation and the Oxalosis and Hyperoxaluria Foundation. In 2016, he was named Nephrologist of the Year by the American Kidney Fund.
So the best dietary patterns that you can do to avoid kidney stones seems to be the following. Drink a lot of water. Eat tons of vegetables that are high in citrate and malate, such as cucumbers, citrus fruits, and bell peppers, for example. Lower your sodium intake and lower your animal protein intake. Try to eat as many vegetables, fruits as you can. And if you want to avoid plants that are high in oxalates, feel free to do so, but the data doesn't suggest to do that if you have a higher calcium intake. In case you're wondering where can you find calcium on a plant-based diet, here are a few suggestions. Soybeans or legumes in general, green leaf vegetables, or even some fortified plant-based milks. Another video of Paul Salad, making some bold claims without compelling evidence. Nothing new, I guess. What are your thoughts about this topic? Feel free to let me know in the comment section. Thanks for watching and don't forget to follow for more.